the last part of the respiration lesson, anaerobic respiration. We have found that living things produce carbon dioxide and give out energy. If this process are caused by an oxidation process, what happens if the oxygen supply is cut off? If human muscles can go on releasing energy when they are short of oxygen, what can cells of other living organisms do? To test this idea, we can see whether it is possible to detect any rise in the temperature and the production of carbon dioxide when living organisms are kept away from a supply of oxygen. Some experiments with yeast will be performing. Yeast grows rapidly if it is supplied with glucose in solution. Our immediate problem is to remove the oxygen from the glucose solution and yeast. We can remove dissolved oxygen from glucose solution by heating it for a minute and then cooling it without shaking. Now put in some yeast and supply of oxygen from the air can be cut off by pouring 1 cm layer of liquid paraffin wax onto the mixture. And if you wish to check that the oxygen has been removed from the mixture, then add a few drops of Diazen Green or Janus Green B solution to yeast suspension before you pour the liquid paraffin over it. And this blue dye will turn pink when oxygen is short supply around it. And arrange for any gas produced by the yeast to escape through the wash bottle containing bicarbonate or lime water. And we can observe that thermometer will be showing the temperature that in anaerobic respiration is going on, and the bicarbonate solution will be turning into milky white, saying that carbon dioxide is produced. By this, we can confirm that anaerobic respiration takes place in the absence of oxygen in yeast. Fermentation. If yeast and sugar solution are left to stand without oxygen for some days, they develop a characteristic smell caused by production of a new compound called ethanol, which has been manufactured by the yeast from the sugar. And the same type of smell we can notice in our preserved idli and dosa doughs. The ethanol can be separated from the yeast glucose mixture by process of fractional distillation, since ethanol boils at lower temperature. Respiration versus combustion. Lavoisier wrote in a compilation in 1783 that respiration is a combustion process. It is a very slow process, and here oxygen is not only combines with carbon but also with hydrogen. And Robinson also stated that respiration is a type of combustion, and combustion is a source of heat in animals. In an activity observing changes during combustion of sugar, you just take a glucose powder in a test tube and arrange it in a position that slant the test tube and heat the glucose and collect the gas which is coming from the test tube through a delivery tube, and make sure that the delivery tube will end in a lime water solution. When the glucose burns, carbon dioxide and water are produced and energy is released as heat. We know that combustion of glucose gives us carbon dioxide, water and energy. When form the respiratory equation, we get the same products. But essentially the process must differ due to the following reasons. Glucose must be burnt at high temperature in the laboratory to liberate energy. If it has happened in our cells, also it will be burnt. Once glucose starts burning, we can't stop the process easily, but living cells are able to exercise control over the sort of burning of glucose in the presence of oxygen. Water normally stops combustion from taking place, while cells contain a lot of water and respiration still goes on. Heat produced by living organisms. Heat production was a feature of burning glucose or sugar, as we observed earlier. We feel warm when we wear sweater in winters. Heat is constantly lost from the body surface, that it must be continuously generated within our body to replace what have been lost by our body temperature constantly. In the course of vigorous activity, a great amount of heat is generated. We know that we feel hot after some form of strenuous exercise such as running. During cellular respiration, energy is released, and some part of the energy is stored in the form of ATP, and some part of energy is utilized in our day-to-day life, and the excess amount of energy is released in the form of heat. But in case of vigorous activity like running, we need more amount of energy. For this, the rate of respiration is increased. So heat is also released in excess quantity. That's why we feel warm. If the oxygen is not sufficient during vigorous exercises, muscles start anaerobic respiration. Hence lactic acid is formed, and accumulation of lactic acid causes pain in the muscle. We reach normal position after some rest. Deep breath helps us restore energy in our body. The next topic is evolution in gases exchanging system. Single-celled organisms like amoeba or multicellular organisms like Hydra planaria obtain oxygen and expel carbon dioxide directly from the body by the process of diffusion. Depending upon the body size, availability of water and type of their circulatory system are some of the reasons for the animals to develop different types of the respiratory organs. We'll see tracheal respiratory system in insects like cockroach, grasshopper, etc. And the tracheal respiratory system consists of series of tubes called trachea, and this is divided into fine branches called tracheoles, which carry air directly to the cells and the tissues. And some aquatic animals like fishes have developed special organs for respiration, which are known as gills or branchia. Blood supplied to gills through capillaries, which have thin walls, which gases are exchanged, and this is called branchial respiration. And respiration through skin is called cutaneous respiration. Frog and amphibian can respire through cutaneous and pulmonary respiration process. The next topic, children, respiration in plants. The next topic, respiration in plants. As we already know about stomata in leaf where gaseous exchange takes place, some plants have specialized structures like breathing roots of mangrove plants, as well as the tissues in orchids, and that produce oxygen is also required by plants to produce energy, and carbon dioxide is released. And conduction within the plant, the stomatal opening leads to a series of spaces between the cells inside the plant, which form a continuous network all over the plant. The spaces conduction within the plant. The stomatal openings lead to the series of spaces between the cells inside the plant, and the air spaces are lined with water where the oxygen is dissolved in this and passes through the porous cell walls into the cytoplasm. And here the respiration will take place, and the carbon dioxide is passed out into the air spaces by the similar method, and the whole system works by the diffusion process, and the oxygen is used by the cells as a gradient develops between the cells and the air in the spaces. Similarly, between the air in the spaces and the air outside the stomata and lenticels, so oxygen passes in. In the same way, as more carbon dioxide is released by the cells, a gradient occurs in the reverse direction and it passes out to the environment. Aeration of roots. Most plants can aerate their roots by taking in the oxygen through the lenticels or through the surface of their root hairs. They obtain oxygen from the air spaces existing between the soil particles. They are adapted to their these waterlogged conditions. The plants which are in marshy places or ponds, they are adapted to their waterlogged conditions by having much larger air spaces which connect the stems with the roots, making diffusion from the upper parts much more efficient. And the most usual adoption is to have a hollow stem. An exception is the mangrove tree of the tropics, which form aerial roots above the soil surface and takes in oxygen through these roots. To show the respiration in plants, we can perform a simple activity. For this, take a handful of moong dal or bajra seeds, soak them in water for a day, and in the evening you just transfer the seeds in a cloth pouch and tie with the string tightly, and keep the cloth pouch in a corner of the room, and next day we can collect the sprouts. And from these sprouts, take a plastic bottle, add the sprouted seeds in the plastic bottle, and take a small syringe bottle, fill 3/4 of the bottle with lime water, and now tie the thread of the plastic bottle, and insert it into the plastic bottle where the sprouted seeds are present, and close the plastic bottle tightly. Make a similar setup with unsprouted seeds and keep it aside for 1 or 2 days. we can observe that the small bottle in which the lime water is present, the lime water will be converted into milky white, proving that sprouted seeds have respired and released carbon dioxide and make the lime water milky white. To prove that heat is evolved during respiration, we can do another activity with the same sprouted seeds. Take the sprouted seeds in a thermos flask and remove the lid and prepare a cork through which you can bore a hole to insert a thermometer, and take care that the bulb of the thermometer should be dipped in the sprouts, and close the flask with this tightly fitting cork. And by recording the temperature for every 2 hours, we will observe that the sprouted seeds have respired, so that the temperature in the thermometer will be increased periodically by after each 2 hours. The last topic of respiration lesson is photosynthesis versus respiration. Photosynthesis is a process of complex series of steps involving the conversion of light energy into chemical energy, which is then used to synthesize sugars from carbon dioxide. And this is the process of synthesis, or an anabolic process, which occurs in the chloroplast. And respiration, as we know, is not just the exchange of gases, but it is the process of breakdown of complex food molecules, or a catabolic process to produce chemical or potential energy. Photosynthesis and respiration appear to be opposing reactions, but both have very different biochemical pathways and are essential for a plant's metabolism. And temperature, humidity, light intensity seem to affect the ratio of photosynthesis and respiration in plants.